in case I have some insights of some conclusions, I'll let you know before we log off and we sign off. But what is very clear is the Secretary to Cabinet is meeting with the family. The family is being represented by Honorable Makebi Zulu, Honorable Jonas Zimba, Honorable Tasila Mwale, and Tasila Lungu Mwansa, and her husband, Mr. Mwansa. The First Lady is in South Africa at a place where they've been living the last few years, a few months, the last 6 months. Sorry, I'm just being disturbed by this call. I thought I'd put everything on. Kindly call. I haven't opened the lines. Let's do the briefings so that you're updated and that your comments will be informed. I think that's what I am asking here. Thank you very much. So a meeting is underway in South Africa. Secretary to Cabinet with Leslie Mbula, former Secretary to Cabinet and former Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa, and the former Vice President, Honorable Enoch Kavindele, are part of the delegation of government. On the other side, we have the family and family representative. I saw some people object to Honorable Makebi Zulu. You are totally misdirected. Honorable Makebi Zulu is a family member. Two, is one of the closest lawyers to President Edgar Lungu, in office and out of office. The family, both the spouse and the former First Lady and the President know him very well. And at this time, probably there's someone the family can trust. And Makebi Zulu, you might know his other roles as a political leader. You might know him as a lawyer of renown, criminal lawyer of renown. You might know him in other. He wears many factors. He's an elder church. He's a born again, very determined born again person. He wears many robes. In this case, he's a family spokesperson. You have to respect that. The Patriotic Front, the spokesperson is the acting president, Given Lubinda, Honorable Nakachinda, who's Secretary General, and myself, I'm the official spokesperson of the party. Honorable Nakachinda is Secretary General of both Tonse Alliance and the Patriotic Front. So when they speak, they are speaking in those categories. I am the official spokesperson of the party. I will speak mostly to issues of the party, but I give commentary about national affairs. In South Africa, the only objection so far that has risen is the presence of Leslie Mbula and Enoch Kavindele in this delegation. President Hakainde Hichilema should have gotten some people more neutral. The persons he has picked in Leslie Mbula and Enoch Kavindele have recently issued very inflammatory statements against the former president. They've issued highly political statements against President Lungu. So these are not the people that probably the family would be keen to sit with. Maybe if it were politics, we could say it's politics. If they came to meet the PF, we wouldn't mind. We are politicians. But for the family, I think this takes offense. It is important that personalities such as Leslie Mbula and Enoch Kavindele that are in the recent past have issued offensive statements against the former president probably should inform the delegation. There are many neutral persons that speak with everyone across the aisle. And the two characters in this delegation are not part of the delegation. Are not part, cannot be deemed to be neutral. I think that should be the way. They can't be deemed to be neutral. So President Hakainde Hichilema is encouraged to look for more neutral personalities in this moment because we're trying to use soft power. Government still doesn't have the body. Government still, doesn't have the body in the country, doesn't have custody of the first family, the former first family and the widow. So it's imperative that you use soft power and there are deliberate steps you take. I think Secretary of Cabinet himself is a neutral personality by virtue of his office and by his conduct. So I think he's accepted. But I know that in the preliminary issues, there were concerns around Enoch Kavindele, our vice president, and Leslie Mbola. And this is why we advise personalities like senior personalities like Nevas Mumba. In time of crisis, these are the people the country should resort to. Former vice presidents, former prime ministers, former senior ministers, former elders in the country. But if you misconduct yourself, you're highly partisan, you're highly opportunistic. Ichalo chikabutukila kuli bani aba kusolve like this crisis. Who resolves when there's an impasse like this? Where are the neutral personalities? So this funeral is giving us a lot of lessons how we should conduct ourselves in life so that we can be respected. In death, look at the crisis we have. Since the president died, government still doesn't have the body, doesn't have the widow, doesn't have a proper place of mourning. We have newspapers that have graced adverse reports about how they treated President Edgar Lungu in life, before they can then show him respect in death. That has been an issue. Second issue from South Africa is tomorrow's church service. There's a church service at the Cathedral of Pretoria for Zambians based in Pretoria, Johannesburg. There are some people that have flown from Lusaka already that want to attend the service tomorrow. It's at it has attracted interdenominational leaders of the church in South Africa. There is a lot of Catholic priests, the Zambian priests in South Africa are working together with our other evangelical Pentecostal pastors to see how this funeral can be hosted, mostly not just as a Catholic or a Pentecostal, but as a requiem mass for Zambia. So there's been unity among, especially the church leaders in South Africa. They need to be commended. There's been ugly things also, scare tactics. You heard what happened this morning, the matter I'll be speaking to. There are a lot of scare tactics where they want to scare that the meeting the church service should not take place. But it is taking place. The First Lady has confirmed she'll be there. Her delegation, Mama Nkanduluo, Mama Jean Kapat, and others that are with her in South Africa are also coming to the church service. The party led by Honorable Nakachinda and others are coming to the church service. A family spokesperson, Makebi Zulu, and others are coming. And government delegation is there. My persuasion is be the bigger person, attend the church service, begin to own the process. For us students of politics, we saw, for example, the acrimony of Mobutu Sese Seko. He dies abroad in France and is buried in Morocco because there are disputes in a country of his birth, in a country where he was president. Patrice Lumumba was killed in 1960. The official funeral only took place 2 years ago. Is it last year? It only took place last year. And that's when they designated a place for his mourning. You don't want to have family kubomfye chifukushi. Atiyoka ishtola tushikoko. Ngakwabo obuteko waba no mu government Muzambia tukesa lete chitumbi. You don't want us to go to that extent. I think Zambia should everything in all of us, our sense of patriotism should kick in. Our love for our country should kick in. The misconduct should stop henceforth. So I encourage the government delegation led by Secretary to Cabinet to attend the church service that is due tomorrow. This is the way you begin to build bridges. I noticed the London Mission has opened a book of condolences. I don't know if it's a personal initiative of High Commissioner Mazoka, but I haven't seen the other embassies across the world open their books of condolences. There are things you do as a Zambian, sometimes you don't even need to wait for instructions. I am aware of this letter written by Tambuyu, who banned no diplomat should meet President Lungu when he traveled to any of the country, should not be given official courtesies, should not be supported in any way, and should not be met. Or if he attempts to come to the embassy, he should not come to the embassy. There was no need for such acrimonious letter. So I hope that the delegation of government tomorrow must attend the church service. That is a Zambian thing to do. That is a normal thing to do. And for government, if ever diplomacy, you begin to build bridges that way. You begin to de-escalate the tension. Like I was saying, there were very offensive things that have happened today. In fact, since President Lungu died, who did government deploy to speak? First, the president didn't speak. He spoke through Facebook. The vice president didn't speak. None of the ministers spoke. Who did they deploy to speak and insult us? First, they deployed Victor Kapungwe, Mr. Grounds. Ichiro Chavaka, take a shower. Then you deploy Chama America. Ichiro Chavaka, take a shower. Mwena Clayson and you people in the media. What are you thinking? The message is as important as the messenger. Then you deploy my dear brother Chilufyatal, is a friend of mine. I don't know if you deployed him or he was doing it on his own. But you deploy Simon Mwewa. For 2-3 days, we are subjected to the charade. Today is only when we saw some form of government presence. Starting last night with the interviews by Mulambo Haimbe. The young man seemed lost. He didn't want to answer any question, but it was better than issuing inflammatory statement than answering things that will charge the atmosphere. So in retrospect, you can acknowledge that Mulambo Haimbe, in his evasive nature, at least was trying to look at the bigger picture, that we should de-escalate the current tension in the country. Elisha Matambo. Elisha Matambo who says, as soon as we bury Edgar Lungu, we are burying all of you. What kind of statement is that? Then you bring Obvious Mwaliteta. He takes over, charges and takes over the official mourning place. I thought the president had declared it as an official mourning place. Did he declare it as a UPND mourning place? That misconduct where you take over the premises, you make it highly charged to compete with the PF who has a PF secretariat. We want to Akwalesa. Can we have order from your government? Can President Hakainde Hichilema provide leadership? The last 2 days have been persuading that the president must not open that Kazungula water and sanitation project because, first of all, he has declared the national mourning. The UPND and praise singers were saying, no. The duty has to go on. I said, but no, you've declared the national mourning. There are certain things the president has to withhold and conduct himself during the 7 days of national mourning. And I was glad to see the water and sanitation minister, I think he's the one that officiated at that event. That is what we should do. So my call is to President Hakainde Hichilema, take up the leadership of this funeral. The person that has died is your predecessor. One day you'll be a former president. Do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you. Remember to love your neighbor. What would Christ do if Christ was faced with this issue? For me, that's always my question as a Christian. What would Christ do? But we act in an offensive manner. We degenerate the debate to petty issues. We lose focus. This is an opportunity to unite the country. This is an opportunity to build bridges across political parties. This is an opportunity to de-escalate the tension that's existing in our country. But you deploy Mr. Ground, you deploy Laura Miti, you deploy Simon Mwewa, who are highly offensive and toxic, and they annoy our people. And what happens is every time they speak, they are scoring political points. But in the end, the environment becomes toxic. It becomes difficult for you to come and be and emerge as a leader because you've spoiled the environment. The media is joking about my dear brother Chilufya Tayali appearing on ZMBC in a gown. He's in a gown. It's a main story on ZMBC. In a gown. Mwe bantu bakwalesa nangu yalipwa ZMBC. Eko mufikilo oko. The message is as important as a messenger. The message is as important as a messenger. So every time you want to communicate, balance the issues. What do you wish to communicate? Who do you think is an appropriate messenger? That's why there's huge scrutiny for people like us who are appointed as ambassadors. Because I am the president on behalf of the president wherever I am. So there is huge scrutiny that I don't embarrass my president, that I don't embarrass my country, and that I uphold, the values that my country represents. That's why they give me a flag, they give me a big Mercedes-Benz, they give me a bigger house. I have access to my host president in that country, and I'm highly respected. I enjoy immunity. All those things should come with character, should come with the stature, should come with the personality. You can't ignore that. The message is as important as the messenger. Nombanga mulevula amwe bantu bakwalesa ichalo chess. So that's the update about South Africa. There are ongoing talks. Secretary to Cabinet is in South Africa. He's met our officials from the family. They've had wonderful discussion. There were objections about these two personalities in Leslie Mbula and Enoch Kavindele for their recent inflammatory statements against the former president, against the late president. So in this case, you have sent a good message with wrong messengers. Chidatulela ndapo, the message is as important as the messenger. So mwatumawa Leslie Mbula inyo waezi wakalamba, mwatumawa Enoch Kavindele inyo waezi wakalamba, but you have abused them the last 3 years. Every time you have a political crisis, they're the ones you deploy. So they are tainted. They said a lot of things against the former president. Usheta mwakwa tabakalamba in your camp. Ushemuchalo, tamuri abakalamba in our country, you are telling me, tamuri abakalamba who can handle this matter. And this is why, with this crisis, you have seen the church sit back. Because you have scandalized the church. You have called it names. You've called them Lucifer. You said they should join politics. So when you scandalize the role of the church, who brings the country together? Who brings the country together? So, but my appeal is to the church to rise above these petty issues and quickly step up, help this president. At the rate we are going, our country can plunge into something, a chaos we might not manage at the rate we have been going. You need to recognize what's happening in our country. The state of the economy, the state of suffering of our people, legacy issues of unemployment, lack of opportunities for young people. Look at how many young people are not in employment, are not in school, are not in college. Look at the state of our economy, our rising debt. Our country is not at its best place. There are tensions wherever you look. Load shedding has become normal to our people. Chilabushiku tulenda nama power banks, chilabushiku tulenda nama cables, epo wasanga malaiti, epo wasomeka wambo kuchaja. Our country is not sitting pretty. The tensions are everywhere. This is where you need a leadership with its sensitivities. Not a leadership that's misconducting itself, like we've seen the last few days. There's a number there, 0973 078082. That was the update about South Africa. There's a church service tomorrow. The former First Lady will be in South Africa. Will be at the Cathedral of Pretoria for the church service that has been organized by the Zambian community in South Africa. I've made an appeal that as one of the ways to build bridges, Secretary to Cabinet must lead the government delegation with the acting High Commissioner and others. The Zambia Association, living in South Africa, Ferdinand Simanya and his team must mobilize the Zambians and be there. Let's have a Zambian thing. Lead us before Wednesday. Lead us. Show us how Zambians are united in mourning, are united in their diversity, how united they are when there's a Zambian crisis. So we are looking forward to tomorrow. Last item. The Minister of Information and Media has denied something that occurred today. Something sad occurred today. Something un-Zambian occurred today. So some government officials and some what are deemed to be security personnel stormed the hospital where President Edgar Lungu was admitted and demanded to collect the body. The authorities at the hospital were very alarmed. They asked, where is the First Lady? Where is the family? No, we are government from the Republic of Zambia. We have come to collect the body. The hospital authorities refused and quickly alerted the First Lady that that was totally un-Zambian. It's not the way you abducted me in Zimbabwe. You can't do that to the mortal remains of a former president. This was our president for 7 years. He can be subjected to the charade we are seeing. That conduct was criminal at best. First of all, if we report you to the South African government, that's a bilateral crisis you are causing. Just yesterday, I gave you a perspective when the former army commander from Rwanda, who was being hosted by South Africa, was killed. What South Africa did immediately was to chase the ambassador, close the Rwandese embassy, and do an official complaint to Kagame that you shall not pursue or kill or conduct criminal activities in our sovereign nation. A very strong action. It took many, I think a year or two for the embassy to reopen. Even when it reopened, South Africa had very, very strict conditions. One, there will be no support staff from Kigali. There was only the ambassador and his wife. You don't want our embassy to suffer similar fate. You ought to respect the sovereignty of South Africa. You ought to respect international law. Not Fidiamoaya, Mulefwaya, Jeje Banda Mwarare. You send police officers to abduct him. You are breaking international. Why me? Edgar Lungu is not why me. Can you conduct yourself properly? If a formal complaint is taken, and probably South Africa has heard this matter, because it immediately became a criminal matter. So the information minister has denied. He says government didn't send those people that went there. They've disowned the process, because that process can cause serious fracture in bilateral relations between Zambia and South Africa. Don't send policemen to try to begin to work in South Africa. They have no such authority. If you want anything, you work through Interpol. Then the authorities in South Africa will deploy its own officers to do whatever you want. But you just can't turn up at the hospital and attempt to abduct the body of the former president. You are just, I don't know what kind of a leadership this is. Walungu Matshamba problems. We have a leadership crisis in our country. We have a challenge in our country. I'll be opening the phone line soon. As soon as I do the Zambian update, I'll be moving to the issues in Lusaka. Let me just give me a minute. I organize my thoughts on, because these are very emotive things, and the misconduct that's happening. It's like it's a book. You didn't think these are real things, the level of violations of human rights, the level of lawlessness that is being perpetrated. Let me just come and do a Zambian brief, then we hear from you. That song that I'm playing is from Peace Preachers. They've been doing a tribute. As you can see, they're still in the studio refining. I produced the earlier version of their song yesterday. Today, this one is a bit slowed down and is more emotional. I love actually this new version they've done. We hope to see the final outcome of this song. It's a totally tribute song of good. You know, it befits the current environment. So kudos to Peace Preachers for that song and for the work you are doing for the Lord and for our country. God bless you. The acting president, Honorable Given Lubinda, has been busy at the party secretariat and he received various delegations. Yesterday we saw KBF and others arrive, and KBF arrived in splendor and pomp with his choir from Zambia Must Prosper. They came and signed the book of condolences. Today we saw various leaders. Honorable Comrade Fred Membe, Socialist Party President, was at the Secretariat. We saw our dear brother Sean Tembo, who's PEP President and is also Tonse spokesperson. We saw other leaders that came and signed the book of condolences. Many people keep on coming to the party secretariat for Belvedere. I think Belvedere's attempt to become an official place failed today, and all semblance of it were lost when the UPND, under obvious Mwali Teta, whatever wisdom he had, Mwali Teta and his team stormed the area and took it over as UPND, and they spoiled. It's like they were responding to it became a political contest, but this is not a political contest. Belvedere is an official place declared by the president as an official mourning place and the place to sign book of condolences. So what Mwali Teta did, as usual, the lawlessness starts from the top, and Mwali Teta just spoiled an opportunity for Belvedere Lodge to become an official place. I don't know if even the family will be comfortable the family of Edgar Lungu will be comfortable to go to Belvedere the way it was awash this afternoon today. I told you that we've had lessons when we lose president and we declare a place of national mourning or a house of mourning. What cabinet does is to call its interdenominational choirs, people they collaborate with when you have national events such as Africa Freedom Day, if you have Independence Day celebrations, or if you have any other Women's Day celebrations, there are these people that you use. Those are the ones to deploy. They are neutral. They are not party to they are not partisan in nature. And you deploy them there. They are the ones that begin to sing, the defense choir and others. I saw the defense choir yesterday singing to empty chairs. And today now we saw UPND in an attempt to fill those chairs. They did the wrong thing as usual. So the number to call is listed just above here, scrolling above there, 0973078082. If you have something to say, please say it. The church service is what we'll be watching tomorrow, and I think we'll carry it live. The former First Lady will be there. So let me now begin to, I've seen there are already missed calls. So now you can call. Please be brief and introduce yourself, and let's stick to the subject. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from. And mute your other device.
Yes, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Ambassador Mwamba.
Yes.
My name is Justin Lubinda.
Justin, the country is listening to you.
Yes, my name is Justin Lubinda. Justin, the country is listening to you. Yes, I'm calling from South Africa. Yes.
Justin, kindly mute your other device. So now you are listening to yourself, and there is delay. There is delay. Mute your other device. Mute your other device. Mute your other device. Thank you, Justin. Have you muted? Uh-oh. Hope he's not gone. Oh, he muted the phone. I didn't say, Justin, I didn't say you mute the phone. Whichever device you are listening to, if it's a second phone or a tablet, it's the one you should mute, not yourself. I can see on the phone you have muted yourself. Okay, he's unmuted. Yes, Justin.
Yes, but am I okay now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, yeah, no, Ambassador, thank you very much. I've heard you, and yes, yeah, you've talked a lot of things, but I was just trying to ask, because I'm here in South Africa, I don't know what has happened today and all that. I wanted to just ask a question: have the family and government agreed on the way forward as far as the funeral is concerned? Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah, okay.
Then number two, but can they reach a solution? Because this thing of going to the secretariat and then they can't go to that other hotel and all that, I think it has created an impasse. What do you think?
Okay, thank you, Justin. Let me answer you that quickly. Thank you. Thank you. Justin is calling from South Africa, and he has asked two important questions. There's another call. Maybe let's take some more calls and I'll answer later. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling you from Northern Province.
Thank you. And your name, sir?
This is Brian.
Brian, please make your contributions.
Yes, Ambassador. I'm following the program, and I just like your thoughts and your passion and love for Zambia. When you were talking about leadership, much more with our senior citizens, I was actually sent back to the time when the late Anderson Mazoka died.
Yeah,
it was not a very, very easy time, though the information minister claimed was total peace and tranquility. I don't know if my memory serves me right. The MMD government then wanted to, I don't know if it was to test the ground, because in the evening they sent Dr. Venon Mwanga to go to the funeral. And he was beaten there during the funeral. He was beaten, the vehicle was broken, and the driver was beaten. And that was actually the government vehicle. But I want to talk about the leadership. Because even during that time, it took candid, clear leadership. And I was trying to imagine, even if we can't find leaders in our political sphere, we have traditional leaders. Some of them who are very, very high in standing and stature. We talk of the Ritunga and the others. And we can actually tap into their wisdom. Correct. They can mitigate. Apart from that, we have quite a number of leads in churches. Who we can use. One thing I actually observed last evening, I was following Honorable Haimbe on Diamond TV. I at first I was like, but why is he not answering questions? But again, I sat back and I looked at his posture. I felt as if this is a person who is actually admitting that we are living at a very, very critical time, and we seriously surely need introspection as a nation. Anyway, that's what I actually read from Mulambo Haimbe. Today, I was listening from the two ministers. I looked at the posture and I compared Mulambo Haimbe's posture. Though young, I'm sure Mulambo Haimbe should be younger than Honorable Cornelius Mwitwa and my father, Honorable Jack Mwimbo. But his posture yesterday, Mulambo Haimbe, actually left a lot of thoughts within me. And I was like, surely we need to sit back and try to introspect and ask ourselves questions. Why this? Why that? And today I was telling someone, lastly, I was telling someone that I remember when Donald Trump was campaigning for presidency, he said, I want to go to Washington to drain the swamp. And I told someone that in Zambia, we need to drain the swamp around presidency. It's like our presidents are under capture every time they actually ascend to power. You could literally see, surely they are human beings, and what is just the problem? What has gone wrong? And for me, the issue is not with an individual as in the president. The issue is within the presidency.
The institution.
That's where we have a challenge.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, there's another call. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening. How are you, Mr. Mwamba?
I'm very well, thank you. Please make your contribution. Introduce yourself and tell us where you are calling us from.
You are talking to Nkonde Kingsley, calling you from a landless corner.
Yes, Nkonde. Please make your contributions.
Okay. I want to talk about just a few things and just try to hear your views and just want to understand, how these issues are moving so far. We've seen that there's a lot of disorder, At the end of the day, we are one people. We are Zambians. Okay, and you, the leaders, you are showing us that, there's no spirit of unity. There's so much division. It's like enmity now. It's like it's war between the UPND and the PF, because the fact that the UPND is the ruling party and they are the sitting government, those are the people who are in power today. Regardless whether we are PF, we are ZMP or any other political party. The UPND is a sitting government, they formed government, and we have to work with them. Even when we are pushing them, ensuring that there's checks and balances here and there to ensure that they're doing the right thing. There is supposed to be that dialogue where we are able to relate at a certain stage, because at the end of the day, we are one people.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
What is happening?
Nkonde, do you have other thoughts quickly? There are so many calls coming in. I want to afford other views.
Okay, the most important one is I want you, Honorable Mwamba, to ensure to see how best you can sit down with the people in the PF.
Yeah.
Let's try to unite and have an understanding and realize that we are one people at the end of the day. Our president, Edgar Chagwalungu, deserves a very respectable, burial. We are supposed to mourn him as a country, not only you, the PF. He didn't belong to you alone. He belonged to the nation. He's our president also.
Yes.
We want to mourn him. So stop bringing this division, because you are depriving us ordinary citizens to just mourn our former president.
Thank
you
you.
want to
Thank
take
you,
it so
Nkonde.
personal, like he belongs to the PF alone.
Yeah.
So we want to participate also. Bring that unity to allow everyone to come in.
Okay. Thank you, Nkonde. I think your thoughts are very clear. There's an issue that how do we resolve the impasse? Government must take up the leadership. I've just explained that government has sent Secretary to Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, to South Africa to liaise with the family about the possible repatriation of the mortal remains of the president on Wednesday. Tomorrow there is a church service that the family acquires to when the Zambian community in South Africa requested for that church service. The former First Lady, who's a widow, who's a spouse to the late president, will be there. You've asked how can we resolve the impasse? This is statecraft, and this government is failing. First, it has wrong messengers. For 4 days, they've treated us to jokers, who they are even covering, as official voices on the public broadcaster, ZNBC. They don't have messengers for their message. We only saw today quasi-government officials speaking, Elisha Matambo, who threatened, "We'll bury you when we bury Edgar Lungu." Is that appropriate message? Then there were two other ministers that spoke. The Minister of Home Affairs, have applauded him for his maturity and for his deliberate choice of words. In this season, in the next few days, that's what matters. You choose your words very carefully. Words have power. But if you send Robert Chavinga and you grace him, he's an expelled official. He can't even go to the PF Party Secretariat. He's the one you grace on ZNBC to speak on behalf of the PF. I don't know who you are fooling. I don't know if you think you are fooling President Hakainde Hichilema, but you are fooling yourself. Why don't you cover Given Lubinda, who has swayed? He has said members of the Patriotic Front should meet across the country, and members of the Patriotic Front are meeting across the country. He has said the secretariat should host a funeral. The secretariat, has what Robert Chavinga said ever carried any weight? So this government is failing on the message and the messenger. So the Minister of Home Affairs today spoke very well. I commend him. This is a man I relentlessly criticize, but today he did very well. His choice of words, his message, and his demeanor was very clear. Came Cornelius Mwetwa from Zanzibar, who just came to spoil everything by trying to politic even with the truth that we have. He was saying the death of Mazoka was very peaceful and nothing happened. Come on, Cornelius. You're one of the founder members of the UPND. You were at the University of Zambia at the time, and you were working very closely with the UPND. Come on, Cornelius Mwetwa. You know the truth. You know that there were allegations of poisoning against Anderson Mazoka, that he didn't recover, and that he ended up, with organ failure in South Africa and died. And when he came, there was palpable tension that year in 2006. And in fact, when he died, I went to the funeral service that the Zambian community in South Africa organized, because I was in South Africa with Dr. Chuluba. If you Google, you will find that first of all, we went to the chapel where Mazoka's body lay. There was a small ceremony by the family there. We went there with Dr. Chiluba, and I went to the church service that was organized. There was palpable tension. You could cut through it. And when the body was brought for Mazoka, the government of Mwanawasa tried, and they deployed Vernon Mwanga. Vernon Mwanga is Tonga, and is an experienced guy. But he was beaten. To date, Vernon Mwanga can't hear on the left side. He was damaged permanently. He was beaten, and this car was nearly set ablaze at Malende. So Cornelius Mwetwa comes, he thinks we don't know the history of this country. Maybe you are speaking to Gen Z that might not have the facts that we personally have. So he came to misconduct himself. So I agree, the impasse, like I'm saying, is very important. Do we consider the message, and do we consider the messenger? And who is building the bridges? The leadership has to be with President Hakainde Hichilema. What would I advise him today? I'll tell him, Mr. President, ask maybe your vice president to call PF officials led by Given Lubinda, even to be accompanied by other members of the opposition. Have a meeting, plead with them that can we mourn together? It's just a few days. The vice president can meet maybe with your secretary general, who is Batuke Imenda, and senior ministers like Jack Mumbu can be in that meeting. Given Lubinda can come with his senior officials. He can involve Fred Membe and other senior people in the opposition, Harry Kalaba and others. And you plead to them, can we, as Zambians, mourn together? Can we have one place of mourning? Can we disarm, de-escalate? Can we abandon the political posturing? This is not the time to politically posture. Can we bury the president with dignity and decency? That's what leadership calls for. So I don't know who around the president who is speaking to him about what. The man that has died is an African. There are concerns. He's a man that you've persecuted the last 3 years. The other day I was reviewing the matters around Obasanjo when he came, because some of us write a lot. We're always researching, constantly researching. Obasanjo came to attempt to bridge the gap between President Lungu and President Hakainde Hichilema. He came in 2017 to try to bridge the gap between President Lungu and President Hakainde Hichilema when President Hakainde Hichilema was locked up for treason. Obasanjo came when there was an impasse. I've always talked about that meeting between Mwanawasa and Obasanjo, and he held a 45 minutes meeting with President Lungu, or with President Frederick Chiluba. I was there. There are lessons. So when I was reviewing all these facts, I say, why, colleagues, senior people who have emerged like Nevas Mumba, have just squandered an opportunity to be elders of our country because of parochial interest, narrow interest, what I can achieve from this presidency. Salary, we need to have elders in our country. And we can't rely on foreigners. We can't rely on Obasanjo to resolve our crisis. Abakala mbabe bali kwi. So mwabantu wakwalesa. Okay, let's see if...
No, Ambassador Mwamba, I don't agree with you.
Okay,
the government cannot go and start pleading with those... those people. No. Don't use that word, pleading. No. You are wrong, totally wrong. This is why we're having problems, Ambassador Mwamba. That's why we're having these problems, because of such kind of, behavior like that. You can't say that government should go there and plead with Membe and all those things. Yeah, it's better they plead with the family, not those... opportunists. No. Ambassador, no, I don't agree with you.
Thank you.
You're part of the problem also.
Okay, so you can send a voice note like you've seen. My dear brother who spoke earlier, he promptly sent a voice message. Well, you might not agree with me, but from my experience, everyone is important. Currently, Secretary to Cabinet is meeting with the family in South Africa. But what do you do about the political impasse? If you for at your opposition are nothing. I used to laugh every time they said Akainde can't win elections. I said, I don't know why when you have power, you have those big cars and air cons, you think you have arrived. They used to say Michael Sata can't win elections. I don't know. They used to say Chiluba is too short to become president. He can't beat Kaunda. So this, sorry, let me not use a strong word. My dear brother, this attitude of denigrating the role of the opposition, you are not a student of history. They said there was no way Chiluba could win looking at his stature and his capacity. Chiluba whitewashed KK, a respected world statesman, a respected man with one of the best intelligence system in Africa. He was beaten by a man he thought couldn't beat him. Michael Sata beat Rupia Banda. Rupia Banda was this accomplished diplomat, well respected, his demeanor, family man. And they said no, Sata couldn't beat him. Sata thrashed Rupia Banda. They used to say Edgar Lungu, Hakainde Hichilema can't beat Edgar Lungu. This attitude of denigrating the role of the opposition, you'll be in a ditch. That will be my warning to you. So if you don't want to listen to my advice, that's okay. If you think that the PF and the opposition have nothing, you can use the police and carry out through this. Please go ahead. Advice is free. You can take it or you can reject it. Sorry, I had to stop the others that are calling. I had to answer my dear brother, Valanda Tamano Mambulwa. But if we got Tatwishi Tamano Mambulwa, we will suffer this fate. Please call again and again. Their cause. Let me see if this will go through. And thank you, my dear brother in South Africa, that you are listening, Justin. Thank you very much. Good day. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Mkwai, Badishan Mkwai.
I just want to say something. I just want to say that I am really broken.
Yeah, kindly introduce yourself. Kindly introduce yourself.
I am a Zambian and calling within Europe.
That's fine. If you don't want to disclose who you are, we allow that on this program. Please proceed.
Okay, so I just want to say that I am very, very broken.
Yeah.
Because we thought YHH has learned something because there is a lot of questionable death that has happened this year.
Yeah.
And I can connect to the funeral of Wanawakwi.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem that we have with YHH is that his actions and words does not match. That is the problem.
Yeah.
And if he claim that he stand for unity, I think they could have been the first people to give an example, to go to PF secretariat office. And they needed to reduce themselves because they have to accept the fact that they have done something beyond human, beyond politics toward Vaedika. Everybody knows that Vaedika was sick, but it's not possible someone who was jogging in the morning and to die after his bodyguard really just withdraw because he has been with the bodyguard to South Africa. And then the bodyguard he was called to the government that he need to attend the case. It looks like that is you Zambians, please, if you don't understand and you cannot really have uncomfortable conversations and to accept the reality, what has been happening since 2021, under the government of Church, then you are not normal.
Yeah.
I just want to say, let me just say this, because a normal person who has capacity and the brain to think, even someone can know that. I think the death of Edgar, it's a questionable death.
Yeah.
And they should not push us Zambians to bury Edgar. In fact, we can even take the body, we can keep the body of Edgar even for 1 month if we want.
Yeah.
Because it's not a crime to keep a body. Because we want the cause of the death of Edgar. We cannot bury Edgar without knowing what really happened. They called the bodyguard Baba Edgar on Wednesday. The second day, he died. In fact, Baba Edgar, I think he died the day of someone's birthday, and they didn't announce. And then, why only the private media, they block the news on social media when PF was not aware, the family was not aware. And to make it worse, the government of Church, they sent their minister secretly without the notification to Zambians and anyone that they have sent a minister to South Africa. South Africa landed South Africa less than within hours when the death was known on social media. Our minister, family, tomorrow we are taking the body. Why are they so desperate of the body of Edgar? What do they want to do with it? What is the problem? What is the problem? Of course, Edgar is a state property, and the family and even the party can decide whether UPND is invited or not. But because the state of the Zambia, it is the soldiers. We will give we're going to give a permission the soldiers to do their job. But we can decide whether my church will be invited or not. And it's not a crime.
Thank you, my dear sister. Kindly conclude.
So you Zambians, you have to really understand it's not a crime to keep the body of Edgar, and we will decide where to bury.
Okay.
Yeah, where. Okay. And also we will decide whether by church or easy officials are allowed. It's so curious. Yeah. What do they want from the body of Edgar? So this is the one that I just want to say. We know what has been happening. Yeah. And they should not defend themselves if they know that they have nothing to do with the death of Edgar. Then they should just keep quiet. And that is the one thing I just want to say. Thank you so much, by Emmanuel, and bye for now.
Thank you very much. Our dear sister says clearly President Lungu was harassed, and the family has grievances, and the family have an opportunity to state their case and their interest. Let me give an example of our neighboring country, DRC. Etienne Tshisekedi, who was the father to the current president, Felix Chilombo Tshisekedi, Etienne Tshisekedi, Mweba Ishiwa, recent history. He was a vociferous, strong critic and main opposition from Mobutu Sese Seko's time. He died in 2017. And the family felt that the government of President Kabila was too hostile to the Tshisekedi. So they never allowed the body to be taken. He died in Brussels, Belgium, in 2017. If you remember, he was only buried recently. He was kept in the morgue for 4 years. And the funeral, I think, only took place after Felix Tshisekedi, the son, won elections in 2019 and made arrangement to repatriate the body and the funeral. So he was only buried for 4 years later in 2022. Is that 5 years later? Can you imagine? So I think let us learn from history that this is a very delicate matter. I know a change secretary was an opposition leader, but I gave earlier again the issue of the Mobutu Seseko, who died and was buried in Morocco, with the intention to rebury him in the DRC when a friendly government comes. You don't want us to escalate, any family member to escalate those feelings. This is an opportune time, I think, to test the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. Let him do everything in his resolve to ensure that this impasse is resolved. Messenger, very key. Speak to all stakeholders. Why is the church quiet during this time? Why are you fronting Mwali Teta is the one we should see with threats on public broadcasting? What do you think that will do to the family and to the PF? Do you think if you have Elisha Matambo who's threatening, will bury you as soon as we bury Edgar Lungu? Why are you allowing these threats? Balanda tulechewa tabamucheba kukanwa ule losha, tabamucheba kukanwa the family bale losha. Your duty is to go and listen. Nga omfwe chimbo chamalilo bale bati nwa uipete ko bati kufumapo awe yoku wayashtana obunga na bumbi washtana nenkoko shimbi wamba nokusobolola po bali abakalamba waikala nabo kukona na uli omukalamba ne atumfati bawido na bagalipasa na bale bati nendile chichumbiti, and they begin to intervene, and by the time you're going to burial, everything has been settled. The matters might flare up per somebody harmful, where people can now be a motive and say their grievances. But that's how we Africans mourn. But the arrogance we are seeing, President Hakainde Hichilema must demonstrate leadership. President Hakainde Hichilema must pick and choose who should resolve this impasse. The PF will do their politics. The UPND may do their politics. But it's up to President Hakainde Hichilema, who's father of all, who's a custodian of even Edgar Lungu, because he's a current head of state, who has peculiar and special interest as a head of state. He's occupying a position that his colleague held. So he should take leadership in this, and that's not what we are seeing. Tumina Simon Mwale tukachila ushiku, calling us names. You are just inflaming emotions. Choose who you want to cover, who should say your messages. It is time to de-escalate. But who will de-escalate? Who will de-escalate? Okay. Good evening. Please tell us your name and tell us where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba, Ambassador. This is Joseph calling from Chingola.
Joseph, please make your contributions.
Yeah, no, I just want to hammer the point. Mr. Mwamba, Zambia is a Christian nation, that you know, and let us not bring division in our country, please. Because if that's a division, and you are doing politics, we are not mourning our dear beloved former president, Mr. Edgar Chagbalungu. So let's put politics aside. We mourn our late father, the former president.
My dear brother, let me just clarify. This is a commentary program. We are providing updates. The purpose is to provide updates. The purpose is also to guide. We are not going to bury our head that Mwali Teta didn't storm Belvedere and take over Belvedere. We are not going to keep quiet that Elisha Matambo is threatening to bury some people after they bury Edgar Lungu. We are not going to fail to praise if the Minister of Home Affairs spoke with sobriety and maturity. We are doing updates and providing commentary, and we're encouraging you to provide your comment. If you think I'm politicking, Chirufatari is live. There are other people that are live. Join them.
Yeah, we've seen all these, because if you can see even I was following those press briefing. They make this Tonse and the president, the acting president for PF. Those are political minded.
Those are politicians, my brother. They are going to do politics. There will be people that will try to take advantage of the death of the former president, both from government side and from private, from political parties. But the role of the president is the head of state, is the father of all, is to provide leadership. There is a family, there is a country whose former head of state has died, and the body is still not in the country. It is a role of the head of state to harmonize that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the government is working on that one. It's working on that. Yeah. So I think let's just see.
No. We are not going to keep quiet, my brother. I don't know if you want me to keep quiet. I've given you the purpose of this debate is that every day I'll provide debate and I'll provide commentary. I have been privileged to have been spokesperson for Dr. Chilua for 10 years. I was permanent secretary for 5 years. I've been an ambassador for 8 years. Really, in a crisis like this, wouldn't you want I offer my opinion and my sense of history?
Oh, you're okay. You're just doing fine, ambassador.
Yeah. Acho ndekana chakwati mule tukanya twilandapo. Lona mushakuzambia kulia cyber crimes barefa muilalandapo ichalo kuti chapi abantu ngata balilandapo abantu bafire bakwato kwa kupemena belafuila mukati. So those that are enjoying this program balikebo wonfwe ko the reflection, but don't shut it up. The solution to democracy is more democracy.
I'm not trying to shut the program, sir. It's just a contribution. I'm just adding. I'm just saying.
Okay, say then your contribution, my brother.
My contribution.
Yes.
Let's just mourn our dear beloved father.
Thank you.
Former president in peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mwamba.
Thank you, my brother. So let me repeat. We had the other day a colleague from Zimbabwe personally attacked the former president. Look, we don't talk ill of the dead. We don't, And he was attacking me personally. There's a program, the platform. Just say your contributions. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hi, Ambassador Mwamba. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
Thank you. It's Dr. Jedediah Kundandlovu from South Africa.
Doc, how are you?
I'm doing extremely well, Ambassador.
You are president, for purposes of our viewers, you are president of?
Ecl'S Zambia.
Ecl'S Zambia. Make your contribution, my brother.
Yeah, first and foremost, there's a whole lot of things going on, especially because we have failed to provide leadership. And every time we begin to expect everybody else to do what they are supposed to do, except for us to do what we are supposed to do, we make a mistake because we are reactive. We are not being proactive. And what I know, I see a very big problem with most of the leaders in our country. Leadership should not be egoistic. Leadership should be servanthood. When you are calling on others to come together because there's a problem, you don't lose anything. Actually, you gain everything.
Yeah.
We have seen that we have failed as leaders before the funeral. And the only way we can rectify our mistakes is not by trying to justify our wrongs, but by beginning to respond proactively to the situation at hand. Sometimes you'll be called names as a leader, but that's what leadership is all about.
Correct.
Now, if we fail to provide leadership, give this example. I know that I'm taking a bit of some time. In a home, when a husband begins to argue like a wife, then you know that there's a very big problem. Because a husband... because there's no headship. And the headship is very important at such a time as this. The problem is that we have leaders that surrounding some of our leaders that are not genuine. And some of them are men of God. Some of them are pastors. And you can see the bitterness of those pastors being expressed through institutions of leadership in our country. We can see this. And we should not even, try to sugarcoat things. Right now, what we need is leadership. And the problem is not even some of these people that are talking. Those are just being used as, mouthpiece. Most of them that are speaking can see that they are actually trying to, they're speaking from a place of somebody's bitterness. So I would really advise Mwamba, what you are saying is very important, and you don't have to be perfect, but you just have to be sometimes consistent, and that's what is important. Right now, let us put our egos aside. This is not about proving a point. Leadership will always come with mistakes. If you've made a mistake, it doesn't mean that you've lost your leadership position. It's how you are able to admit your mistakes and sometimes let people mourn in the way that they want to mourn. Don't control things. That's all that I wanted to say, Mkwai.
Dr. Jedida, thank you very much. Thank you very much. In fact, our history is very clear. Our African leadership is one of the best in the world because our leaders, our chiefs lead in council. Our kings don't lead alone. They lead in council. They have to be with indunas. And now we've, let me just take this call. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Alfred Joseph Yombe. I'm calling from Lusaka.
Your name, sir?
Alfred Joseph Yombe.
Alfred Joseph Yombe. My dear brother, make your contribution.
All right. Murishani festival mwamba weso.
Iyo tulelosha muntu wandi tatulala mwana menso yalifimba kukulila na kukana sendama.
Atatuapapata mleso ngatulejiringa na bamwanza kabinga.
Endita.
Mweba shana poni mwebo. Chilicha ulanda sana pamfwa yaba ECL. I'm really broken. I'm really broken. Bamwamba weso, it's not an insult, but this UPND government, they lack wisdom. That's what they are lacking, is wisdom. And they lack wise counsel. And you know why? Because they have so much hatred and bitterness. They're a bunch of bitter people. And I don't know why they are so bitter about anything. If they were not bitter, they were just to be normal and wise and seek counsel from the elders. I think they could have done better in this situation. And they have to understand why there's this resistance from the family, both the biological family and the political family. It's because of the manner they treated Iseo when he was alive. When he was a president, he was voted in 2016. President Ineche refused to recognize him as a Republican president.
Correct.
That's why we saw the tug of war in Mongo. Because he said this is not a president. To him, he wasn't a president. This is where all this is, coming from. That bitterness. They failed to recognize him and they never respected him. Even when he handed over power to him, we know the person who got the instruments of power. It wasn't Aka in H&M. He's a suspicious man. It was his bodyguard from Beijing. So they have to understand where all this tug of war is coming from, where this resistance is coming from. And me, as a PF sympathizer, I wouldn't like them to be anywhere near the funeral of ECO because the Chiriro Chawo. To them, it's a gain. The ECO's death, to them, it's a win because they wished for this. If they really wanted ECO to live, they could have allowed him to go for his medical checkups on time before it was too late. So they should stay, however, UPND. They should leave ordinary Zambians and ask the PF to mourn and all the dignitaries. They should not pretend. They're just doing this because chance on Kulivena. So they're just playing to the gallery, trying to be good when Isiwe is dead.
Yeah.
They should stay away. And as PF, we should never expect anything good to come out of UPND. As long as it has got to do with us, the PF, they will mistreat us. Just look the way they are saying before we even bury. They are saying all sorts of things. They are threatening to even arrest the Yasira Lungwe show. They are threatening to arrest the Honorable Rafa Nakachinda for the interview he gave on Sabic and the newsroom. Why threatening people who are talking? They are just narrating how he was treated when he was arrived. That was wrong. We need to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yombwe. Thank you very much, Mr. Yombwe, calling from Lusaka. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us. This now boils down to leadership. Who's head of the state is President Hakainde Hichilema. Who should provide leadership? Who should de-escalate the tensions? There's been a build-up of tensions. You know, bury the hatchets. You know, bury the hatchets. President Hakainde Hichilema has been issuing, since his brother came back or attempted to come back into politics, he's issued all sorts of inflammatory statements. Akesa ikala pesa tuwali ikalapo. No one will remove me. Ine kwa liwa gulu kuchipuna chandi. No, nkam pa mkoshi. We have all those videos. We don't want to play them. So when a death occurs, like we were saying yesterday, when a death occurs, my dear sister, just a minute, I put you live, just hold on. Yeah, please make your contributions.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you. This is Kapia again
from
Chicago, USA.
Yes.
Honorable, it's really very devastating. It's very devastating. If you look at the person of Ecl'S Galungu, his personality, this is, I would call him a lamb. See what they are doing him in his death. To me, this clearly shows that they failed to fight him when he was leaving. Are they going to fight his soul now? Maybe his soul is still with us. The man died a painful death. I strongly agree with him, and I would want to oppose Udiakola Wakulandre Scholar, the government, what. No. The family simply said they don't want the government any close to this funeral. They did not say that I'm citizens, they shouldn't mourn. No. Even the government can still go to the secretariat if they want and mourn from there peacefully. No. Patriotic Galungu was mistreated. This man suffered for over 20 million people of Zambia. Do you think that is something simple? And there's a state funeral. No, where's the president? Where is he? Up to now, president. Ask yourself, why? His mouth, his lips is tied up because of the treatment he gave this man. The man is tormented, the man is wanted. Sorry to say this, they shouldn't blame the PF, but the other day, Honorable Giffen Lubinda was very clear. ngakututusha batutushe tulosheshe not tinabakanya abantu kulosha tapedi ubu bakenyi. No, please. This death is so painful, is so unbearable.
Yeah.
They're the ones even doing politics. And what they should know, Ecl'S was a politician. We are not running away from that. That's the truth. He was a politician. We are expecting politics in his funeral. Please let them stay away. No. If I don't you never know what they can do. Thank you so much. May God bless the work you are doing, Honorable Mwamba. Thank you, bye.
Thank you. A young lady called Kapia from Chicago in the United States here. She's calling for the UPND, I think, to show some remorse. She's calling on we want to call it a 70 missed calls. Munjeleleko. Please tell us. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. Yeah, we're discussing the funeral updates of Zambia's 6th president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa. There'll be a church service tomorrow at the Cathedral of Pretoria, where the former First Lady will lead a delegation from the family in attendance. My dear brother, it looks like Nwama. Please make your introduce yourself and make your contribution.
John Mabo, please, the ambassador. I hope
I think we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Ambassador, have you observed we have two major issues that have been unearthed by this situation, predicament?
Oh, I see what has happened. Can you believe it? I'm so sorry, Mamabo. I have to call you back. I left this phone in the studio, so it didn't charge. Just in a minute, I'll call you, Mamabo. If you are listening, I'll call you back. My phone is discharged. I didn't charge it the last 2 days. I kept on leaving it here in the studio. I'll call you just in a moment, and for others, they can call. What is Facebook saying? A Jordan Tiger says, Nakachinda is speaking, so Elisha Matambo should also speak, and obvious Mwalitete, they're politicking. Okay, fair enough. Indeed, the president must provide leadership is absent. Correct. I think, there are those comments from social media. I'm following up. We have a church service in Pretoria tomorrow. Today we saw hoodlums of UPND take over the official mourning place designated by the head of state and by cabinet office as a place of mourning, and they just diluted and they just cemented the role of the PF party secretariat as the official mourning with that conduct. They should have gotten neutral people and neutral personalities. Sir, good evening. Are you calling me in my private capacity, or you want to contribute to my program?
No, in your private capacity, sorry.
Okay, sir, I'll call you back. I'm live on the program. Okay, thank you, sir. Let me check. I want to learn that now uletamba program wasanga fena babweshe chitumbi. Yeah. Oh, someone has sent me this letter. I was talking about a letter where Itambuyu Anamela Gundan's son, who's a permanent secretary at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, had written on 28th December 2023 to all embassies and spoken about this letter. Someone has sent me the letter. Thank you very much, because I was going to forage through my documents I might publish it, but she gave directive that she had instructions that Edgar Lungu must not be received by any official or embassy, and he must not be allowed at embassies abroad if we were to turn up. Very crude way of doing things. And that letter is a genuine letter. 4 or 5 members from various embassies had sent it to me in 2023 when she issued it. I never published it because I thought it's one of the matters that we're dealing with when we're resolving the issues around President. Okay, so let me just reactivate this phone. That's on I'm sorry I didn't charge my phone, but it's coming on just in a minute, and we'll take the calls. We'll begin to wind the program down. We'll have another update tomorrow. But let me just take the last few calls. But I have to call back Bamabo. He's a senior in our country. So someone has written me. Okay, there's a Zambian national, a very senior person, who says they are in Midrand and they would like to attend the church service. Okay, sir, I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you after this program. Thank you, sir. So we've been discussing the funeral program in the last of Zambia's 6th president, who died at a hospital in Pretoria in South Africa. Today there were major activities where government officials and unknown persons, security that appeared to be security officials, attempted to retrieve the body and remains of the former president in South Africa. That action is criminal. The Minister of Information and Media spoke to that matter. He has disowned the process. He says, according to government, they sent no one. So if they sent no one, the people that turned up, you must punish them. Remember, in South Africa, CCTV is everywhere, so you can't hide. Identify the officials and deal with them. You are tempted to abduct the body of the late president. But this is your former president, Zambia's 6th president, Fidia Baneta Bachita. Yeah, the line is on, so let me just call back Mabo before other people start calling. Let me just call back Mabo. He's a regular from Italy. He's the president of Zambians in Italy, and he's actually traveling for the funeral when they are confirmed. Bamabo, please, I'm so sorry. The phone went off. I haven't charged it the last few days, but it's on now. Make your contribution, sir.
Just 2 major issues, Ambassador. I think it would be better if now we try to calm our people down,
Yeah.
My emotions, the polarization and the division is becoming a little heavy and it's becoming scary.
Yeah.
And I hope this is where we will see by UPND their true leaders in times like this, if they can bring together the nation. Because what's happening, Ambassador, it's not good. On my WhatsApp group, some comments, no. This is just so wrong. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
The second one, we shouldn't be using our heads of state in foreign hospitals. After 4 years, after more than 6 years of independence, sure, we can have hospitals like, but we have a lot of educated Zambians, even foreigners, experts working in our country. This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then we have lost a statesman, an important person. And what are we talking about? Trivial issues. We are arguing about just like today with the previous leader. What about him, Ambassador Rivers? What about him? True leaders don't hide their incompetence in what about him. You say, look, I'm going to do it better. Not that you also did it. That's why I'm doing it. What kind of thinking is that?
Yeah.
And then I want to say, by UPND, by PF, the SP, won't say, political organizations in Zambia. We are Zambians, first of all. There's no need for us to be left, right, please. Ambassador, I think we should try to preach unity and encourage the government to bring the people together. Division, you know, it's an amasivo yamba is such a.
Yeah. Yobane Mwabomba, thank you very much. Well, I had proposed in my discussion that if I were anywhere near the UPND, I would advise the president to deploy people to meet, first of all, the PF, where President Nungu was a leader, to attempt to help de-escalation. Of course, primary is a family, and I think that process has been underway since Saturday. But the PF also is very key, even the opposition. Some things you just have to say, can we do a Zambian thing? At the funeral of Nawak, President Hakainde Hichilema preached peace and called for dialogue. Here is an opportunity. Call people so that by the time the body arrives on Wednesday, you will have at least a preliminary meeting to attempt to de-escalate the tension currently going on. Your name, please, and tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello?
Yes, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I am calling somewhere in the United Kingdom.
That's fine. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's also okay.
Okay. First of all, therefore, Honorable Mamba for coming online so that we can mourn together.
Yeah.
I would also want to thank the family of I would really want to make a real contribution here. When I feel not first of all shocked. That's why she was president of the hospital. We know that South Africa, Balestana attend medical to the Balestana attend to medicals. So but for Kulanda Sakurati. Info for Aishire Mwandini, Yari to publish at the Tom Futakishon Gabali admitted in Gatabali admitted. There was nothing that was disclosed. On the other hand, needs to understand it can be private. Obviously, maybe the family wanted to make sure that it was okay before they can bring things out. But if you know, people are talking so much. Our country is a Christian nation. That okay, the president, I understand, but the comments, but so many for about 7 days. Thank you so much for HH. But then our Bandama outsiders, the people on the far right, shock. There was this person who was saying Patriotic Front, government, provisions. And on the other hand, there was a time, I think it was independence time, that follow politics Zambia. I think president and so but it was very shocking. As for one, wherever I am in diaspora, I've been able to buy a plot. It was time Yabalungu, they not managed to push that plot with time Yabalungu. Roads Balungu Baliwani. There are a lot of things that Balungu Bachti, but it was shocking to know this was, yes, it was a plan, but the man did what was planned, and once in a watch that benefit. So my really cry that when I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, why don't we stand up together, pray and support this family? You know, it's a very crucial time. Okay, I'm interest, yes. But the best interest here was the other family, you know, Baba, although it is private, at least what the boy that when we are mourning Balungu. There is peace. There is love. It is the way of UPND.
Concerned citizen, just wait for a minute.
That means there is something that is happening. So on the ground, for me, my contribution is I would plead with the UPND. How I wish the President Vesu, as he is, can even address us because na ifo tulechita follow tukiswa hokutali. Na kuchipa address no but if not we are sorry whatever happened. Let us mourn our president so na ifo everybody could PF. Please let there be peace and let there be order so that but I should also say thank you so much Bamwamba for bringing it on air. I for one Balungu has contributed a lot in my life. I may be very far away, but what I've achieved in the country, it's because of that man. And I still remember, that man was a man of the people. That man was humble. That man was, if I was in Zambia, perhaps I met him in the street, he would say hello to me. Will I be able to greet my other president? I don't know. Up to now, I'm still fighting for the road. I don't want to talk about that. But I'm so touched about what is happening. Let there be peace. Please, Mr. President, we are waiting for you. Come and say something. We want to hear your voice. You are doing a lot. You are appreciating Balungu. If you are appreciating Balungu, please come forward and say something. Just to comfort the family and to comfort people like us who are waiting and yearning to just hear that apology. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A concerned citizen, please make your contribution quickly. You are now a regular on this program, so please go ahead and make your contribution.
No, thank you very much. My concern is about narrative and how certain factions are trying to shape a narrative. I noticed earlier in the day where there was, I think it's a follow-on from the conversation that we had yesterday, where people are trying to make it seem that the PF is trying to agitate anarchy or disruption by saying that they want to respect and mourn the former president at various secretariats and through their own functions. And I've seen a lot of people saying that no, if you the PF being who they are, they might be disorganization and there might be anarchy and all sorts of things. I happened to go to the PF Secretariat today. It was the most wonderful thing. There was love.
Oh, well done. Did you sign the book of condolences?
I signed the book of condolences. I managed to be able to give my thanks and thank my president. And I saw people engaging in a wonderful way. I was fortunate.
How was the atmosphere? Was it hostile? Did you feel threatened since you are not a member of any political party?
Absolutely not. It was engaging. It was wonderful. And being somebody who was from the Eastern Province, I was just a bit wary because I was worried that they might pour powder on me, but because they didn't.
Washuka, you didn't tell us. You would have brought a bucket full. Yeah.
But all I can say is just to summarize. Yeah. I was there when there was a delegation from Citizens First that came. They were very wonderfully welcomed. The people were there. It was a jovial. It was a celebration. There was a moment, but it was a celebration. It was somewhere where, as Africans, we mourn. As Africans, we celebrate. As Africans, we remember. And I just feel sad that people want to give this impression that just because it's at the secretariat, there must be something untoward. I personally recommend, if you're a true PF fan, true PF supporter, if you're a true supporter of Zambia, go to the PF secretariat and mourn our great president. Write your story in terms of your experience of what you thought about the former president, and celebrate him. That's all I have to say.
Wonderful, concerned citizen. Well, here we have someone testimony who actually went to the party secretariat and signed a book of condolences. He says it's from the East. His only fear was that someone will come, Novunga. So he's very, very lucky. The other cause, we need to begin to wind up, colleagues. Let me take this call as well. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
My name is Taonga from Saka.
Taonga, please make your contributions.
I just want to commend you for the advice you have given, and it is my prayer that it will be taken and implemented. You know, regardless of whatever those who did not like Dr. Lungu and their reasons may be, we cannot take away from the fact that he was a president of this country and he has certain entitlements. Regardless of the fact that certain entitlements were denied, were removed from him when he came back to active politics. In fact, even before he came back, we all know the office of the former president was never actually set up for no good reason. But anyway, regardless of all that, I think we should not, those of us who supported him, who were PF members and everything, we should not let that hurt we have stand in the way of according this man the state funeral that he deserves as a former president. It is something I think we should actually make those who did not like him, it will actually make them happy if we focus on that and say, no, let us do this privately and everything, and we shun all that. That man was entitled to a state funeral. He's entitled to a dignified burial. He's entitled to be laid to rest at Embassy Park. Let us not take that away from him. So in all this, even as we mourn, let us do what should be done. Everything else, the politics can come up later and everything, but let the people who are close to, if it's the family, close to the party, focus on that, the fact that this man is entitled to this. He worked for that. If the injustice of taking away his benefits was done, let it not continue even in his death. And then with this, now news that have come out that the medical staff at the facility where his body is were being threatened and harassed and trying to get the body out. It's very unfortunate that something like that can happen. Whoever those people are, whoever sent them, whether it's as reported or they're not from government, it's very unfortunate, because why would people want to go and get a body without the consent of the family? What is it that they would want to do with it? How would that help the situation we're in right now? And I think those who are condemning the Patriotic Front having gathering at the secretariat and calling for the party structures in the different districts to gather where they can, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Because before, the state has, the owners was taking their time to first of all announce the death. I do not believe that they were not aware until past 1830. After the news, nothing, they just post via Facebook post, and to almost 48 hours later, that's when they come and talk about the venue of the funeral will be the Belvedere Lodge. You know, it's just been done like it's not something important for them, but they have their reason. So I think there's nothing wrong with the PF gathering at the secretariat. No one, Mr. Luenda did not say it's national mourning. He was declaring mourning for us, the PF sympathizers. So there's nothing wrong with that. And it's people have the right and the freedom to assemble in that manner. There's no violence, no one is being injured or hurt or harassed. Let people mourn. We can do this in a dignified manner. And they said there should be no party regalia at the lodge. But what are we seeing? People going there in regalia for another party.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Those are the things which anger people. And then I think they are hoping to agitate the PF such that if people do not keep level heads and some commotion erupts, it will be blamed on the PF. So I'll just call on all PF supporters that we should remember that we are mourning this great man who led our country to the best of his abilities. No one is perfect, but he did so much what he could do. So let us keep our level heads and let us not fall into the trap of being, agitated and engage into practices that can lead to breach of peace.
My dear sister, let me see if I can take other calls. Thank you very much. We love the voice of women. It's a voice of peace. Thank you for your contribution once again. Thank you. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador. Good evening.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is from Livingston, Zambia.
Okay. Would you like to participate in the program?
Yes.
Make your contribution.
Ambassador, it's quite unfortunate looking at what is happening in our country during this very difficult period. If you look at the issues that have surrounded the death of Dr. Edgar Chagwarungu, first of all, I would start with the national TV, the NBC. The NBC took so much time to announce the death of Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu. Besides that, when you look at how they have documented Dr. Lungu's legacy, they are just highlighting politics, forgetting the developmental projects that Dr. Edgar Chagwarungu did. We have got a lot of projects that the former president did. But when you look at the documentation which they have done on ZNBC, it doesn't talk about Edgar Lungu's legacy in any way, if you analyze it critically. That's one. The other aspect is the aspect to do even to there are some things maybe which people have ignored. For example, the platforms where we listen music from, for example, Boomplay. Zambia has got a state funeral where the former president has died, and his death has touched many lives. And you can't tell me that, Ambassador, people are not listening to any gospel music from Boomplay during this period. When you check what happened when Dandy Crazy died, may he so rest in peace. You would see from Boomplay it was gospel throughout.
Yeah.
People have produced songs in remembrance of Edgar Chagwarungu, but you can't find them on Boomplay. You can't find them easily. Okay, unless those clips that you people like you, the clips that you are sharing. Now, what is happening to our country? I wonder, what is happening? So, when you look at the cry of most Zambians, the cry of the family for Edgar Chagwarungu, the cry of the Patriotic Front, the cry of the Tonse Alliance, it's the same thing. It's that Edgar Lungu was neglected. He has even been neglected even in his own death. So, it's
Thank you very much, Mande. Thank you for your views. God bless you. Yeah, I think then I'll take a few last calls. Let's say the last two calls. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Nondet Shimba.
Yes, Mr. Nondet Shimba. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Are you still in Canada? Is that the Nonde I know?
Yes, it's supposed to be.
Yes, are you in Canada?
No. I'm in Lusaka for the moment.
Oh, wonderful. Please make your contribution, Nonde.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've been trying to come through, but thank you.
I have over. There are now 106 missed calls. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. I think for me, looking at what is happening, I'm worried about the future.
Yeah.
You know, I'm worried about the future because if this is the way things are going to be, there are a lot of people maybe that may aspire to be presidents in the future. But when you look at things, because one way or the other, at the end of the day, we will all respond to the call of God to go and be with Him. But if this is the way things are going to be like, tensions after you have done what you have done to save your nation, the good things that you have done for your nation, and at the end of the day, it's tensions like this. I don't think it's a good reading. For me, when you are leading, you are the bigger guy. You know, there should be a bit of soberness in the way that you handle things.
Yeah.
Because the other part may have nothing to lose, but if you are in power, you have everything to lose. If you do not do maybe what would be called the right thing. I believe that's for me what should happen here, where you know, sometimes it's just good to consider and say, for the sake of peace, let's just do this and get everything done in the right way that it should be done. I felt we should be concerned so much about the future than we are just concerned about what is going on right now. Because if we fail to work a way out of situations like this, we are very sure this will happen in the future, and it will keep on happening, and this and this and that. So the people that are here today ourselves, we should stand up and say, really, is this what we want for our leaders when this happens? What is the best thing that we need for our leaders? I think that's where we stand as a people, and this should be a defining moment. A thing like this should never repeat itself in the future.
Yeah. Thank you, my dear brother.
That's what I wanted to contribute to the program today.
Wonderful, very senior journalist, and he's made his contribution. The role is, like we are all saying, de-escalate. How do you de-escalate leadership from President Hakainde Hichilema? No one else. He can't pass it back. He cannot pass it back. The last 3 days have been terrible. The people that have been in the forefront on ZNBC trying to speak to the country are not the kind of people to carry the message where you've lost a head of state. Like Kapia from Chicago has said, up to now, wakateka, tabalabikula nemfwa. Babikuilefe pa Facebook. Mulambo Haimbe was asked by Andrew Mwansa on Diamond TV on Costa, how come the president has not spoken to date? No. There are various ways in which to communicate. He communicated on Facebook. Your fellow president has died. You want to do a tweet? Come on. I think there are just better ways of handling this matter. But however, I'm concerned about the standoff and the polarization that still exists. I think the primary issue is the family. Government must, to a large extent, pay attention and help resolve this crisis. One of the issues is tomorrow's church service. One of the sad matters is what occurred where some unknown people attempted to illegally retrieve the body of the late president. They purported that they are members of the security and the government officials, and they are on CCTV. Can we see an action against those persons. What happened is an African, it is an Zambian, and it should not be allowed. The third issue is where we saw the UPND storm the place of mourning. That's not a UPND facility. It's a state facility where all Zambians are supposed to feel a safe and neutral. It's not everyone that wants to be associated with any political party. That is why the action by the PF remains the credible process where they provided a place of mourning at the party secretariat, because again it's a leadership issue. Government has been absent. Instead of, after you set up those tents, instead of inviting multi-denominational, interdenominational choirs to come and begin the process, you bring in UPND cadres. You, come on, you've destroyed that place. It now looks like a contest between what's happening in the PF and what's happening to the UPND, and it shouldn't be that way. Today we had various people speak. We had Elisha Matambo, who's a provincial minister on the Copper Belt, who was threatened to bury the people that he thinks are causing confusion. He says, after we bury Edgar Lungu, we will bury you too. Those threats are criminal. Those threats promote polarization and the division that is currently existing. The other statement came from Obvious Mwaliteta, inflammatory. He gets a hold of minibuses with party cadres and they storm Belvedere Lodge and they take over the premises. Again, that's a lot of lawlessness. The optics are terrible. But the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, to his credit, held a wonderful press conference. He had choice of words. He had a message and he delivered it aptly. But just 30 minutes later, there was a young man, Cornelius Mwetwa, who was calling who was speaking from Zanzibar, take over ZMBC Facebook page, Ministry of Information Facebook page, and Kalemba, which seems to be their now private entity they are using after Koswe was now scandalized as an entity of a rogue state house. Now they're using more Kalemba, an entity owned by our dear brother Salim Deu. He spoiled the earlier message that was probably achieved by the Minister of Home Affairs. I thought maybe they had separated that someone would do the politics, then someone would deliver a state statement. Maybe Cornelius Mwetwa's statement should have been delivered not as chief government spokesperson. He should have delivered it as UPND spokesperson. So again, they took away from what they were earning. As we go, we close the program, and as we go to tomorrow, I think the news today is de-escalation. A group team led by Patrick Kangwa is in South Africa this evening at a meeting with the family of President Lungu, led by by the widow and the representative of the family. She was not in the meeting, but representatives of her and representatives of the family were in that meeting. They were discussing outstanding issues, including the repatriation of the body. Immediately before I came to this program, the concerns were around two officials that have accompanied the Secretary to Cabinet, who is Leslie Mbula, former Secretary to Cabinet, former Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa. As a senior, he should not have problem with anyone. But these seniors have engaged themselves in very toxic partisan politics, and they're not amenable to discuss these issues. Our dear brother Enoch Kavindele, since they were put on payroll with other senior people like Nevas Mumba, they've just gone rogue. They are literally the mouthpiece they are using every day to fight partisan issues. And when a national crisis like this emerges, their role is diminished. They can't command the respect or that is pro later to the very offices they held, such as vice president. This is again a lesson to the seniors in our country, that we should have a reservoir of our seniors we can rush to when we have a national crisis. The UPND, as usual, are very arrogant. They think that they shouldn't even discuss with the PF. Instead, they deployed that Robert Chavinga mwebantu wakwalesa ale kalifiafi abantu imitima. Let me say my goodbyes until we have a discussion tomorrow. I apologize. We had so many calls on my account. There are still people calling. We will have another update tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. In the morning, we'll broadcast live from the church service. And I pray that both government officials and the family led by Mama Esther Lungu will be there. Begin to use bridges. Begin to de-escalate the tensions. Let's use the church service to build bridges, to begin to build our country and remove this rising political temperature that hasn't gone very well. Justin Samu from South Africa, my brother, you've gotten in touch 3 times. I'll call you after this program. If there are any views, you can repeat them tomorrow. I'm trying to close the program. So God bless you. God bless our country. Shalom, shalom.
wakulekela we mwine, utulewe,